Penn State is in for a brutal reality post James Franklin. You see, a decade ago, you could only win a national championship at a handful of schools. If you weren't coaching at a blue blood program like FSU, Florida, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, you are going to have a difficult time of sustaining success and being able to contend for a national championship on a consistent basis. Now, in the year 2025, with how much college football has changed, with NIL pretty much being pay for play, the transfer portal allowing you to overhaul and have overnight success immediately at your new school, there's no reason, if you're Curt Cignetti, to leave Indiana for Penn State. What can't you do at Indiana that you can do at Penn State? Nothing. Indiana beat Oregon on the road by 10. The same team that came into Happy Valley and beat Penn State. Curt Cignetti doesn't need to leave Indiana to compete for the Big Ten, to compete for a national championship. Same thing with Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman was just in the national championship last year. So if he can get Notre Dame to a national championship game, plus he's bringing in top 5, top 10 recruiting classes, what's the incentive for him to leave South Bend for Penn State? You don't need to have top-notch facilities and a boatload of NIL money with billionaire boosters to compete for a national championship, to compete for a Power 4 conference title. Jeff Brohm has Louisville on pace to make it in their second ACC championship game and possibly making it into the CFP. You no longer have ceilings and limitations at a bunch of these Power 4 programs anymore. Why should a guy like Kenny Dillingham or Brent Key leave a school that they played for, that they're alumni for Penn State, when they already are having success? And that's the reality that Penn State is about to walk into. Curt Cignetti was number 1 on their head coaching candidate list to replace James Franklin. And Indiana just gave him an extension worth over $90 million, fully guaranteed. Lane Kiffin, all he's going to do is use the Penn State head coaching vacancy as leverage to get more money out of Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin doesn't really want to leave Ole Miss, but he's going to use Penn State's vacancy at head coach to get more money out of them. He can already win at Ole Miss. So there really isn't no reason to leave Penn State. If you're a good coach, you don't need to have everything in order to win. As long as you have enough to do what you need in order to build a team that can compete for a playoff spot or a national championship, and you're comfortable with that, you don't need to jump ship for a school that's perceived to be a bigger job. There just is no point in that anymore. College football has been as wide open as it's ever been. Look at the schools right now that are in the top 10. Indiana, Texas A&M. Schools that normally haven't been in the top 10 in the past are now in it due to what? College football has more parity. And with more parity, it means less head coaches needing to feel like they need everything at a school like Penn State that can provide them with everything when they already have enough to be content and to continue to have success at their current programs. It's not as if Curt Cignetti is at a school like Northwestern that just is so limited financially, it's impossible for him to consistently put up 9+ win seasons. And even if Penn State is able to lure away a top head coach, there's no guarantee that they're going to succeed. Just because you have money doesn't guarantee you're going to have success. Texas A&M had a bunch of money. Look how that worked out for Jimbo Fisher. Texas has the most expensive roster in college football. And they are one loss away from their season being over. Same thing with LSU and Brian Kelly. So even if you do get a big name coach and you make a big time hire, even if you do have it all, you can still lose. You can still underachieve. Vanderbilt beat a LSU team with a more inferior roster when it comes to a recruiting standpoint in comparison to the amount of 4 and 5 stars that they have. When you look at Vandy compared to LSU, it's not close. But why Vanderbilt won that game was due to them having a great coaching staff that didn't need everything like how Brian Kelly needed in order to win. Because they have a certain way that they go about building up their team. You also have to be able to establish a culture. And with this mercenary mentality that a lot of these players have in the transfer portal, Penn State thinking that them having all this money to spend doesn't guarantee that they're going to have success post James Franklin. It's a lot harder to replace a guy who consistently has you in the top 12 every single season. It's a lot easier to downgrade from James Franklin if you're Penn State than it is to upgrade from him.